Welcome to Resource PNG. On tonight's program, we showcase a series of interviews with St. Barbara, National Catering Services, AkzoNobel and Talisman Energy. But first, we find out more about a relatively new player in the mining industry, St. Barbara.
My next guest is Tim Lahaney, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of St. Barbara. Welcome to the show, Tim. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you, Anya.
Now, Tim, a little bit about St. Barbara. What attracted it to PNG?
Look, we're attracted to PNG principally by the prospectivity and the growth prospects. We're a mining company, so we need to go to the places where we're most likely to find mining deposits, and but also by PNG to us is a place that we know we can work. It's a stable jurisdiction. It's pro-development. It has a good, strong government, and we were very attracted by the whole package at PNG.
Okay, so at this juncture, I might just ask you to tell me a little bit about St. Barbara. I know probably our viewers know that you've just recently taken over Allied Gold, which operates the Simberi mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, St. Barbara is a publicly listed Australian company, so we're an ASX top 200 company, and we're now one of Australia's largest mid-cap gold producers. We are the largest mid-cap gold producer in terms of our resources and reserves, and one of the largest in terms now of our annual production. So up until we acquired Allied Gold, all of our activities have been on the Australian continent. So this is our first time working offshore, and in PNG and in the Solomons.
And how long have you been considering those opportunities?
Look, we've been working on this for some time, certainly over 2 years now. And so we looked at opportunities in areas that were geologically attractive to us. And right from those early days, Simberi presented itself as one of our best opportunities. We very much liked what we saw at Simberi and liked the fact that we thought we could develop Simberi into something bigger, and also the prospectivity of the exploration leases there.
Right. And how would you describe the Simberi project?
Look, the Simberi project is an open pit mining operation. It's in mining terms, it's a fairly simple open pit mine. It processes the ore through a fairly standard process in gold mining called carbon in leach, and currently it produces a maximum of about 70,000 ounces of gold per annum. And we're currently undertaking or completing an expansion project which will increase the mining and processing throughput and lift production to a much more sustainable rate of about 100,000 ounces per annum.
Okay, so great plans for the actual project. So what are the immediate plans for Simberi?
Look, our immediate plans are to establish and consolidate safe and reliable operations. So that's our immediate priority. Then to complete our production expansion project, which we really need to do so that Simberi makes an adequate return, not just for St. Barbara and our shareholders, but also for landowners and other stakeholders in PNG.
Right. Now, where do you see growth opportunities?
Well, there's growth opportunity around the current mining operations at Simberi. So, and we're doing some drilling and exploration work in and around the open pit mine. But also, our exploration lease, EL609, covers the rest of the Tabar Island group, so the western side of Simberi Island, and also Tatau and Big Tabar Islands. And we're very excited about the potential on those areas, and we've committed to an active and an ambitious exploration program there.
So further prospects,
yes,
not
indeed.
only far and beyond Simberi?
And certainly where we are in the Tabar Island group, most certainly.
Right. Okay. Now, what are similarities and what are the differences, I suppose, between operating mines in PNG and operating them here in Australia?
Look, that's a good question, and I think the things that don't change, mining processes and methods and things are fairly similar, no matter where you are. The imperative of forming respectful and constructive relationships with stakeholders and communities are the same. Melanesian culture is different in terms of land ownership, but the need to form those relationships and work well with communities is the same. The difference mainly, I think, is in climate. So, where we've been operating in Western Australia is hot and dry for most of the year, whereas the climate in Simberi is quite different and the rainfall is much higher.
Understandably, it would be. So, What does St Barbara bring to Papua New Guinea?
Look, I think there's a lot to commend St Barbara to Papua New Guinea. We've made a long-term commitment to Papua New Guinea with what we're doing at Simberi, and we hope to invest, to grow our presence in Papua New Guinea, to build capability in local people through training, and we have made that commitment. We bring the operating expertise and business expertise and the financial veracity to back up our aspirations. And being an ASX 200 company as we are, we have access to the capital markets so that we can raise money to undertake further development if that's required. Right. And we're also we're an ethics-driven organisation. One of our core values is that we treat people with respect. And so, we've made a commitment to respect Melanesian culture and to build and develop those relationships that are so important to working in PNG.
Just a final question. As a relatively new player in the market, do you think there's enough information available about cultural sensitivities particularly at the landowner level when you're taking over a project of this size?
Well, it was a very important consideration for us in looking at that acquisition, in understanding the culture and the difference in operating certainly in the Melanesian culture. So once we looked for it, we found the information fairly easy to access, and we had very good advice from people who have been working in Papua New Guinea for a long time. So we were happy that we could access the information certainly that we needed.
Oh, I'm glad you could find that resource available to you. Thank you for your time today, Tim.
Thank you very much, Enya.
That was Tim Lahaney, the Managing Director and CEO of St Barbara.
We'll be back with more after the break. In this segment, we talk to John Gethin-Jones, the Managing Director of NCS Limited.
You're watching Resource PNG, and my next guest is John Gethin-Jones, Managing Director of NCS Holdings Limited. John, welcome to the show. It's so good to have you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now, just tell us a little bit about NCS Holdings Limited.
Okay, NCS had its inception 20 years ago on the island of Lahire, and it was actually a labour hire company at the beginning. It's always been owned by the landowners of Lahire.
So 100% shareholding by the landowners?
Yes.
Wow.
It grew into a full-blown catering, hospitality and camp management company. We now operate in 28 different sites right across PNG.
So would you be the biggest supplier in that area?
Yeah, we calculate we're somewhere between 70 and 80% of the market.
Okay. It's a pretty vast market.
Yes.
So how many people would you employ?
Currently 2,750. And of those 2,750, 98% of them are Papua New Guineans.
That's an excellent record.
Yeah. See, one of the benefits of being 20 years old is that we've had 20 years to train our good quality people, our supervisors, and we've been able to promote Papua New Guineans up the tree quite readily.
Okay.
And they comfortably fit into management roles and supervisory roles, so it's been one of the benefits we've had by being around for a long time.
Right. So your core business is catering, is that correct?
Yeah, and camp management.
Right? And camp management. Okay. How much produce do you get locally from your local communities?
We try to buy as much as we can. We do get a rump of it from Australia and New Zealand, particularly fruit and vegetables. Right. Because still in PNG, the quality, the consistency of delivery by the fruit and vegetable growers is a little bit weaker than we would like, but we do encourage that. We've got food depots to collect local produce in different parts of the PNG operations, and we're working hard with the locals to try and improve the consistency and quality of their product.
Right. I was going to ask you a specific question about whether you do have programs in place to support the local people to
we do.
To supply to you.
Ramu Nickel at WOW, at Kanantu, and just starting up in Wafi.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So almost all around the country.
Yeah.
Now, with the number of people that you employ, how do you ensure that they're trained well?
We've got we invest very heavily in training. it's my view and the director's view that training is one of the most important things that we can bring to local communities. So we have in-house trainers. We also use William Inglis in Melbourne to do some of the chef training. We're working with APTC now, with utilising their training skills as well. So it's just an investment in systems and time.
Right. Do you see any problems with food security?
In PNG?
Yes, or in
in
the areas you're operating, in your operation?
No, not really. We've got a fairly extensive safety team in place as well, and we do all the things you would do if you were in Australia or anywhere else in the world in terms of food safety.
So you've got world-class safety ratings, I would
Correct,
presume, in your operations.
Yeah.
And what are your plans for the next 20 years? Anything that you can discuss with us?
At the moment, PNG is very exciting, and we only operate in PNG at the moment.
Okay.
But it's very exciting. You've got a number of large projects coming forward. That's the Yandera mine, Freda River perhaps, Bougainville might come back on stream, and of course Waifi Golpu has started, but it's only in early days at the moment. And they're big opportunities for NCS, and the fact that we've got so many trained people and a logistical supply chain in place will help us hopefully win those jobs. So that's a very big focus over the next few years. There's a potential opportunity for NCS at some stage to broaden its horizons outside of PNG, but essentially around the Asia Pacific rim, if you like. And some of our clients on PNG have operations out there, and if we're doing our job well, it's potentially possible that they might invite us to start up operations in, say, Fiji or...
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, apart from local supply not meeting demand, what do you see as the main challenges of operating your type of business here?
Safety is, for everyone in PNG, particularly in the mining game, but everyone in PNG, safety is a big issue, and that's something you can't be complacent about. At our Lahire operation, which is our oldest operation, we've got 13 million LTI free hours, which is a big achievement.
Right. Yes.
But you only need to have one LTI incident, and of course they all disappear. So it's very important that that's front of mind, and we have toolbox meetings in the morning and constant reminders about the importance of safety. So that's a big issue for us. I think improving the agrarian uptake from PNG is important for the locals, but also for our business, because we rely heavily on that. And just keeping our good quality people and promoting them up the line so they see a future for themselves, looking after the people. They're our success, really, so they're very important.
They are. One of the common threads in the guests that we've interviewed has been the mention of lack of infrastructure in this country. How does that affect your business?
It makes it very complicated and very difficult, particularly up in the highlands. We service the Hides operation, the upstream LNG, PNG LNG, and getting produce up the road, up into Hides, is very awkward. And given most of what we ship up there is food, and some of it perishable food, it makes our job that much harder. Equally up in the highlands, warehousing facilities aren't as good as they could be, and that would assist in that logistic train, make it easier. It's a lot easier in Port Moresby, where the big operation for PNG LNG, which we also do the catering for, that's a much better logistical opportunity for us. Right. We don't really have containers that sit on wharves for very long, and we can get them out to site quite quickly because the roads are good, the service is very good. But certainly in other parts of the country, we operate out of Madang. Sometimes that's difficult. So yes, there needs to be improvement in roads and access points to sites around PNG.
Right. So your business is heavily dependent upon transport and road infrastructure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. Have you formed any partnerships with your provincial governments, maybe the national government, to support you in this area? Or what support do you think?
We do converse with them and talk with them. One of our biggest strengths is our partnership with our local joint venture partners. So at Hidden Valley we have a joint venture with NKW, which is a landowner company. NCS is a landowner company, so we get on well, we think the same way, and those partnerships are always quite fruitful for the local communities.
What's been your experience with managing a landowner company as such?
It's been a good experience. We have a board of directors, and governance in our business is very similar to governance in good countries in the world like Australia or wherever.
Right.
Our directors are largely Papua New Guinean landowners. We meet quarterly. They're fully informed and briefed. They're engaged in the decision-making process. They contribute to the strategic debate.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's been a good experience.
That's excellent. Thank you for your time today, John.
Thank you.
We continue with more when we return. Thank you for staying with us on Resource PNG. We now talk to the General Manager of AkzoNobel, a leading supplier of coatings in the extractive industry in PNG, and we find out about their presence in the country. Mr. Rubin, AkzoNobel is the world's largest coating company. How and when did you set up business in PNG, and what coatings do you specialize in?
AkzoNobel has a 300-year-long history. The company is growing through acquisition and organically. And in 1998, we acquired a company called the Courtauld Group, and by that we came over the brand name Tormans and the Tormans Industries here in PNG. So we have the Tormans company here in PNG was established in 1965, so the Tormans brand name is very well connected to PNG.
What is AkzoNobel's value proposition to Papua New Guinea?
Value proposition, or let's say our passion, is to provide sustainable paint solutions for all different applications areas in PNG. We have, apart from a top quality product range, we have also a good distribution network, we have production facilities, and we have very skilled high-tech technical reps.
What coatings do you specialize in?
We are what we call, say, a multi-site. That means our bread and butter is actually the decorative coatings, the one that you use for the architectural industry, for the housing, the building, etc. But we're also extremely strong in the areas of marine and protected coatings. That goes with the infrastructure, the mineral and the energy sector, and we are also in car refinishes with our Lessenol brand. That's a small but a growing sector.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin. I understand that a majority of your business, as you just mentioned, comes from decorative paints. Considering AkzoNobel has been in PNG for over 20 years, and the property boom in PNG only began in recent years, how has your company managed to sustain itself over the years, and what level of growth have you achieved?
Actually, AkzoNobel, but under the brand name of Tormans, has actually been here since for more than 45 years. So our business started up in Rabaul in 1965, but as I mentioned before, AkzoNobel acquired Courtauld Tormans in 1998. So we have a long history here in PNG. You know, paint is a basic product that's needed in good time as well as in hard times. You need paint in order to protect your assets, to beautify your buildings, and for a lot of other different purposes. So the need is always there. How we have been surviving over the years, it's mainly because we have a top range of products, high quality products. We have highly skilled people, and we have an infrastructure and network through our branch organization and our resellers to provide paint in all over the PNG.
Mr. Rubin, you have high skilled people. Does AkzoNobel provide training on how to best apply coatings?
Absolutely. What we do since many years back, we have what we call the Tormans Paint Academy. And over the years, we have probably trained we have trained hundreds of people, applicators, resellers, etc., to understand more about paint, about colors, how to apply, and what is the difference between high quality paint and low quality paint.
Is the Tormans Paint Academy still in operation?
Absolutely. and we try to improve it every year.
Mr. Rubin, your coatings are known to be of the highest quality in PNG and the world over. Considering you have a factory based in Geruhu, how do you maintain high quality standards, and what procedures and checks do you have in place?
You know, our company has here in PNG a long, very interesting history. As I said, we started up in 1965 up in Rabaul, where our factory was actually destroyed in that volcano eruption in 1994. And that's when we moved our production facilities out to Geruhu, and we set up a world-class factory. We import more than 95% of our raw materials or semi-finished products, etc., from abroad. We have strict procedures how to formulate, for formulations, for technical procedures, and etc. And of course, being a local company, but in belonging to a global organization, we have high standards in all our procedures, and we can draw from the high technology given by AkzoNobel worldwide.
What are your coatings used for in the resource sector, and what is their impact? And what sets AkzoNobel apart from others?
The mining and the energy sector is what drives the economy here in PNG, and a lot of the business are circles around this. That means apart from supplying paint straight to the mining and to the different oil and gas projects, there's a lot of spin-off effects from this, coming with the infrastructure, the housing, the roads, the cars, everything that goes with when a country develops. And it's very important for us to understand the needs of these sectors. And that's why we have very skilled, trained people. We have NACE certified inspectors that can talk with the site managers, the site engineers in this project to understand their need. And that's why we're very successful in winning a lot of these contracts. And I'm very proud to say that we have got a very interesting contract with one of the subcontractors for the big LNG project, a Japanese company, and so we're a big provider of paint for that project.
Do your coatings apply to heavy-duty mining equipment as well?
Absolutely. With our brand name, under the brand name International, world famous, we have all the different kind of systems to protect what we call heavy-duty metals, etc., in the steel industry.
How long do your coatings last when they're applied to heavy-duty metals?
That's a very good question and a bit difficult to answer straight like this. But if you don't protect your assets, they will be destroyed in this tough environment very quickly. So by applying our coatings structures directly on steel, it will protect it for many years.
Mr. Rubin, dealing with coatings, chemicals can be hazardous, and yet AkzoNobel boasts zero incidents as far as safety is concerned. How do you keep that under control?
Yes, you're right that chemicals can be hazardous, but AkzoNobel have put a health and safety on the highest level. And we are happy to say that we have had very few accidents over the years. We are also very keen to protect our environment, so sustainability is also a very important part of our program. And we have what they call the product stewardship program. That means we follow our product from cradle to grave. That locally we have taken the decision to actually export our hazardous waste material to Australia for recycling. This has been done in close cooperation with EPA, where we actually together have worked, overcome all different bureaucratic obstacles. It took us quite a few years to sort this out, but we are very happy that in the end we were persistent, and today all hazardous waste goes to Australia for recycling.
Okay, you've just mentioned that hazardous waste goes to Australia. How else do you ensure that your chemicals have a minimal effect on the environment?
First of all, AkzoNobel has a list of chemicals that are approved to work with, and usually that list is much stricter than the regulatory lists in each country. So we can just use approved chemicals in our production and in our products.
Tell us more about the Let's Color concept that's part of Taubman's rebranding.
Yes, the rebranding is a very exciting and significant milestone in our 45-year history. The new logo is the embodiment of the spirit of Let's Color. And Let's Color is all about inspiring and adding color to people's life. It's more than just color, and it's more than just about paint. It's actually a state of mind, an attitude, and it will inspire us all to move forward in life.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Rubin, for your time on the show.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back with more after the break. Welcome back to Resource PNG. If you've just joined, so far on the show, we've spoken to the Managing Director and CEO of St. Barbara, Tim Lehaney, the Managing Director of NCS Limited, John Gething-Jones, and the General Manager of AkzoNobel. We now feature an interview with Paul Atkinson, Vice President and General Manager of Talisman Energy. Paul talks about Talisman's presence in PNG and projects it is undertaking in the Western Province.
Thank you for joining us. We are here with Mr. Paul Atkinson, who's the Vice President and the General Manager for Talisman Energy. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Atkinson, how long has Talisman been in Papua New Guinea?
We first entered Papua New Guinea in 2001, which is just over 11 years ago. However, our story really begins in 2009, and we've been very active, particularly in the Western Province of Papua New Guinea since then.
All right. Are you able to tell us a little bit about your activity in the Western Province?
Yes, we acquired quite a large land holding by acquisition of several smaller companies, and currently we hold almost 30,000 square kilometres of land. That's about 30% of the land area of Western Province.
It's quite a lot.
Yes. Since 2009 we've been very active. We have participation in 2 rig programs, and we've drilled together with our partners 10 wells in that time, discovering about 1.6 trillion cubic feet of gas and 40 million barrels of gas condensate liquids.
All right. Where exactly would this be located?
It's over a wide area of the Western Province. In particular, we're shooting seismic in the area around the Strickland River this year, about 480 kilometres. But in total, we've shot about 1,500 kilometres of seismic in an area ranging from Kiunga all the way down to Yavo on the Strickland River.
All right. Tell us, how many, who works with you, the type of people that you work with, how many are there, and where exactly are they? Papua New Guineans? Are they from overseas?
Yes. So in the oil and gas industry, of course, we work with a lot of contracting companies. Many of these companies, though, recruit from the people of PNG, particularly for our seismic programs, but also our drilling programs. These contractors have recruited from the local communities in the areas where we work, and many of these people are acquiring skills that they'll be able to use in future campaigns. In our Port Moresby office, we have a team of Papua New Guineans almost in its entirety, and we have a program of promotion to a higher seniority together with a graduate intake program from Unitec.
All right. So what's Talisman's long-term objective in Papua New Guinea then?
Well, together with our major partner, that's Mitsubishi, the Japanese company, we have an overall objective to be Papua New Guinea's 3rd LNG producer. And we intend to acquire enough gas and aggregate enough gas up to about 4 trillion cubic feet by 2015. At that time, we'll be able to make a decision to invest in LNG construction.
All right. So if, say, everything goes according to plan, what would be the first production for LNG for Talisman Energy then?
So if we went according to that plan, it could occur as early as 2019 and come on stream as the third LNG production train in PNG.
All right. So Mr. Atkinson, is there anything else you'd like to talk about with regards to your business with operating in Papua New Guinea?
Well, I think that you know, oil and gas business can't happen without cooperation, and we've had very strong cooperation from the government and particularly the Department of Petroleum Energy, who have helped us administrate our licenses over such a large area and help us keep order in our project.
Mr. Atkinson, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for telling us what Talisman Energy is doing in Papua New Guinea.
Thank you very much.
More with Paul Atkinson after the break. We continue with Paul Atkinson, this time with a presentation where he talks more in depth about the nature of Talisman and its projects.
Our project is located in the forelands of the Western Province. We have 13 licenses covering an area of almost 30,000 square kilometres, which is about 30% of the area of the Western Province. Talisman's been in PNG since 2001, but my story really begins in 2009 when we acquired this large onshore acreage position through acquisition of several companies with the object of aggregation of stranded gas and to explore for more gas on the acreage for LNG. As you can see from the photograph, the area is of low relief, it has many rivers and is subject to heavy rain and flooding. The supply chain from Port Moresby is very long, and we use the rivers for transportation. We have two key bases. In the north, we have a base in Kiunga on the North Fly River, and in the south we have a base at Yarvo on the Strickland River. And for the rest of it, we use pretty much helicopter access to get to our sites. Logistics is at the core of our business, and success requires close attention to the costs and burn rates on a day-to-day basis, particularly in terms of aviation spend. We need high visibility of costs and then close allocation of capital to the individual projects that we're working in order to maintain control of our business. Where I've worked in the rest of the world, quite often our operations are rig-centric in that everything's done to maintain the rig on a day-to-day basis. But here in PNG, we've learned to make our operations logistics centered because that's where our major spend is. And at the heart of that, we need good operational planning, a good procurement system for ordering and movement of goods, a good accounting system for proper allocation of costs to the right projects, and then good supervision who have the logistics at the forefront of their interest. So I'd like to report on progress in this project in 2012. First of all, Talisman has been one of the most active explorers in PNG for the past 3 years. We've participated in 10 exploration wells and 1,500 kilometres of seismic since beginning this project. The overall objective is to aim to acquire or aggregate between 2 and 4 TCF 2C resource on a gross basis together with our partners. And currently our resource basis stands at 1.6 TCF gross of 2C. And this resource has been aggregated at a finding cost of less than $3 per BOE, which is very important. We use this as a key economic metric to ensure that we're finding resource at a cost that will, when it's brought up through our economic model, will make us a good margin in LNG at the end. And we'll hear more about that. In a project of this scale, it's very important to form partnerships for sharing of cost and risk and access to skill sets. We partnered with Mitsubishi Corporation, who have proven expertise in LNG projects and proven skills in LNG. We've worked hard together, and I believe we're finding ourselves a good fit between Talisman and Mitsubishi with aligned objectives in this project and aligned values. Our business will be developed in phases, and over the course of last year and this year, we've had a significant development where we've envisaged a large condensate liquids project which offers short to medium-term cash flow as well as our LNG business. And the first phase of that is the Stanley development, which was sanctioned by Talisman and Mitsubishi and Horizon. And from that business we expect condensate revenue from 2014. We have further liquids discovered in PRL 21 in the Elevala and Ketu fields, which will create a significant near-term liquids business, and I'll mention more about that. Talisman is a global company with production of about 425,000 BOEs per day, and our project is part of Talisman's strategy in Southeast Asia, and this slide refers to that business. In Southeast Asia, we have positions in 5 countries, PNG, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam and Australia. And this asset portfolio includes a mixture of production, near-term development and exploration. Currently, there's a gross production of 115,000 BOEs per day, and that will grow to 160,000 BOEs per day by 2016. PNG is positioned to continue production growth beyond that period. In Southeast Asia, we have a mix of liquids and gas production, and the gas is priced linked to liquids prices in the domestic areas where we produce. Our PNG business will replicate that model because we'll have condensate liquids which will sell at oil prices, and our gas price will be linked to LNG. On this slide, you can see the land position and the country entry strategy. As I said, we have 13 licenses. In the northern area, we have several discovered fields, together with our partner Horizon and Mitsubishi. And in the southern area, centered around PPL 235, together with Mitsubishi, we have several other discovered resources. So in terms of the strategy, we've acquired a material land position through M&A. We're using exploration to evaluate and high-grade the portfolio. We've secured a strategic partner for this business, and our exploration is going forward to acquire 2 to 4 TCF. We have an early liquids project, as I described, and lastly, we're looking at options to monetize the gas. During 2012, we had an extensive drilling program with exploration in PPL 235 and appraisal in PRL 21 to firm up the subsurface basis of design for the Elevala and Ketu projects together with Horizon. 2013 we'll have a very extensive program. In the north we have Stanley development drilling. We have an appraisal well of Elevala called Tingu. We've kicked off just now a 480-kilometre seismic program, and as we go forward I believe we will add more kilometres to that program in 2013, so we'll be finishing up that program about the middle of next year. In our southern licenses, 235, 261, drilling will commence down there about the middle of the year, and I think we'll have a program of at least 6 wells and probably more. And of course the Stanley project is going through government approvals now, and will start in earnest after the turn of the year. In terms of our strategic partnership with Mitsubishi have farmed in on an average of 20% across 9 blocks, which are coloured orange on the slide that you can see there, which form the heart of our acreage position. And their entry contributes to the funding of the resource build program over the next 2 years. We envisage that by the time we get to the end of 2014, we will have arrived at a place within that 2 to 4 TCF of discovered resource, and we'll be in a position to see what consortia we can form for monetisation. With Mitsubishi, we've got aligned objectives, as I said, and we find them to be a right-sized partner for this project and for collaboration together with Talisman. The government is also a strategic partner in this venture. So far we've enjoyed good cooperation in the management of licenses and in bringing Mitsubishi on title to those licenses. LNG development is a long process and very costly, and we were pleased to hear the Prime Minister say about the government stability and stability in the fiscal and tax regulation for resource projects.
We'll continue with the presentation when we return. Welcome back. In this segment, we continue the presentation with Paul Atkinson of Talisman Energy.
A little bit about operations in the Western Province. First of all, HSE. We have found that the principal sources of HSE risk for our operations are aviation and occupational health. A significant hazard is working in the forest, and we've worked to reduce the footprint of our sites and operations, for example, our line cutting and the size of our sites, so that we have less forestry work. We've replaced the large use of rig boards with Duramat to reduce the amount of tree felling and the sawmill activity. In 2012, we've had a good safety record, and Rig 605, which we own, has won the Talisman CEO's Annual Safety Award. In terms of CR work, we have investment in health and education. In terms of health, we have vaccination programs in the areas where we work. We work on maternity, and we do our work together with provincial government programs, and we support that with our logistical infrastructure, helicopters, etc. We've done work on malaria prevention and eye and dental work. In terms of education, we've been sponsoring students from villages in our area to school in Kiunga in years 9 and 10. We've all heard of cases where exploration activities have been delayed or disrupted, due to misunderstandings with landowners and local people. And so Talisman has put a lot of emphasis on community relations. And we find it's a common thread through our business, featuring employment of local people, being a good neighbour in the areas where we work, and having transparency and honest communication well in advance of our operations so that communities are clear what's going to happen and why. And we find that in order to do this effectively, we have to demand the same from our contractors, because what our contractors do, they do in our name and are perceived to do so. We take great care to find out who has ownership rights and give respect and take time. Our project's different in that it's not underpinned by a single or a few large fields. It depends on aggregation of fields in the range of 50 to 600 BCF. In the foreland, the structures are subtle, low relief, with drape over basement, you can see in this seismic slide. But in our core licenses, we have good seal, strong sourcing, and persistent marine sands, which create a good chance of success for discovery of hydrocarbons. In our seismic program, we've had good success this year with the use of LiDAR, which is light detection and ranging. It's an optical remote sensing technique, and we found that it's eliminated scouting and has reduced the HSE and cost impact of scouting. It's reduced the cost of insertion of sky hulls, and it's allowed us to place seismic lines on dry, high ground. Efficient seismic's a key driver for generation of prospects, and next we'll be testing a different type of play within our blocks. In terms of drilling, well costs are dominated by mobilisation, demobilisation, rig moves, site construction and logistic costs, and only less than half of our drilling costs are due to the drilling part itself. In the south, we own our rig 605. It's a small rig, but it's good in the depth range, 2,000 to 2,500 metres. And in the north, we work with rig sharing together with Horizon on the Parker 226. It's a 2,000 horsepower rig, but it takes more loads to move it. In our finding cost, approximately from $3, approximately $2 is due to drilling, so this is the important area where we need to focus our activities for reduction of cost. And we found difficulty in benchmarking drilling and seismic costs in Papua New Guinea because often operators don't include the full logistics cost, and it's difficult to compare on an apples-to-apples basis. We've discovered so far 1.6 TCF, and over the next 2 to 3 years, I believe that we'll get up above 3 TCF and perhaps as far as 4 TCF, depending on our success in our G&G. There's a lot of leads in our blocks, and it won't be a question of prospectivity. It'll be a question of when to stop, when to form a consortium, and when to start on development activities. In terms of liquid resource, we've had a successful year. We started the year with 10 million barrels of liquids and ended the year at about 38 million barrels. I think that in the licenses that we have in the northern area, where we're starting on the first phase of condensate development, there's the potential to go at least to 60 million barrels and perhaps beyond. By 2016, when we have our PRL-21 liquids coming on board, I think we'll have about 10,000 barrels a day of liquids being exported from that area. Talisman uses a stage gate process for project execution. Right now we're in the appraisal stage, building the resource, and then we'll move into select and then define where we do FEED studies. We're doing a lot of studies right now together with our partners and some government agencies on export routes, pipeline routes, and concept facilities. And currently we foresee the aggregation of sufficient resource to begin pre-FEED in 2015 as part of a forming consortium at that time with our partner Mitsubishi. The Talisman Consortium has the chance to be the third LNG project in PNG. I'm pleased to report that our project's on track in terms of resource build, discovered resource, operational execution of drilling and seismic, development planning and execution. The finding cost is on target, leading to, we believe, an economic project. And we have an emerging significant early liquid scheme which promises to give cash flow from 2014. This is being achieved consistent with our values, chief of which are safety and engagement with the community in honest and open communication. I conclude that we've had good progress in 2012 and we look forward to progressing this further with a very large work programme in 2013.
This brings us to the end of the show. If you have any comments or queries, do email us on this address, resourcepng@mtv.com.pg. Or to find out more, check MTV online, that's www.mtv.com.pg, and go to our Resource PNG page. Until the same time next week, have a pleasant evening.